So what I'm going to do today, or this afternoon, for the next 15 minutes or so, is give you a quick introduction to who on earth are NATS. For those of you wondering, I probably did when I was in your position. What we do at analytics within NATS, run through my experiences, because I like talking about myself, and it's a pretty good example for career paths that might be open to yourselves, and highlight any career opportunities that you may have at NATS, and then some time for questions at the end. So, who are NATS? Well, NATS were formerly known as National Air Traffic Services, and what we're a global leader in air traffic control and airport performance. And what we do is we currently control all of the UK airspace, and we also have commercial contracts in place with most of the large airports in the UK, such as Heathrow and Manchester, to provide the air traffic control from their towers there. We put safety at the heart of our business, as you right here, we safely deliver. Last year, across the UK, we handled around 2.5 million flights, and we're operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, although I'm quite happy to say that in analytics, you don't have to work on Christmas or night shifts or any of that sort of stuff, although there is the odd early morning if you're visiting a tower and all their flights leave at 5 a.m, but that's pretty rare, so there we go. As mentioned, we manage the upper airspace, but we also and some of the towers as well. So we're with flights throughout their whole journey, whether they're en route at the upper airspace, where you'll be managed by air traffic controllers down at Swanwick or in Prestwick, which I'll mention in a minute, or on approach. And when you're on approach and you're landing at an airport, you're taxiing around and taking off, you're probably under control of one of the NATS ATC controllers. As I mentioned, we keep safety at the heart of our business. And how do we keep aircraft safe? We keep them separated from each other so they don't crash into each other. This means upper airspace, they're kept 5 nautical miles apart horizontally and 1,000 feet vertically. Why is it all in weird measurements like nautical miles and feet? It was developed in World War II, and we don't like change, I think, might be one of the reasons. And then when you're going to say into airports, you're generally kept about 3 nautical miles separated, so we can pack more flights in. So I just mentioned locations. So en route, if you're in an aircraft en route flying somewhere across the UK or over the eastern side of the North Atlantic, you will be under control of a NATS ATC controller, keeping you safely separated from other aircraft. And if you are in the north of England, Ireland or Scotland, you'll be under control from people up in Prestwick. And if you're in the south of England, then you'll be controlling people in Swanwick. Now, the other national location we have is the Corporate and Technical Centre, based in the exciting location of Whiteley, which, if you don't know where that is, it's about halfway between Portsmouth and Southampton, just the M27, and that's where head office is based. Engineering, Aquila, who are a consortium between us and Thales, who do the military, ATC, and most importantly, analytics. That's where I work. So if you were to join any of the analytics teams, that's where you'd be based. Then we have all the airports which NATS are involved in. So see here, Heathrow, Bristol, who I'm currently doing a project for, Southampton, Manchester. That's a different slide to what I was expecting. We've got animations. I was aware of that. So we also have Ferronats, who are another consortium, and we operate some of the Spanish towers as well. So we see we have quite an international business, and we operate a lot of airports, which is quite exciting for me. So how's the company made up? It's mostly air traffic controllers, because they're the ones keeping you safe in the sky. They have assistants in the tower, or it's one like Prestwick with them, who do the jobs. Engineers who make sure that things like the radar work correctly so the controllers can do their job. And then about 950 specialists and business support professionals, which is where I fall as an analyst. So what's it like working at NATS? It's quite an exciting international aviation domain. I'm quite fortunate in my team analytics that we have about a 50-50 split of UK and foreign customers. So we had 4 people from my team out in Thailand last week, someone in Hong Kong. A guy did a bit of a round trip to Australia, Bangalore, India, places like that. So it's quite an interesting environment to be involved in. You have quite an opportunity to make a good influence on what's going on, because there's an increasing demand for traffic. As I said, we handled 2.5 million flights last year, but the airspace isn't getting any bigger. So we have to come up with some quite innovative solutions to how to fix that. Collaboration with other countries. It's an international domain, there has to be collaboration. Sometimes there's not always. The French ATC controllers like to go on strike a lot, which makes it interesting for us over here. So if you're late, it's probably the French fault, but I shouldn't be saying that. And flexible working arrangements. Not so much if you're on shifts as a controller, but for me, I have flexible working hours. I can get in at 8 or I can get in at 10, whatever you like. That's always quite nice. And more importantly, so what you're probably more concerned with, as we're here at the OR Careers Day, is analytics and what do we do there. So the analytics department is approximately comprised of about 80 full-time analysts, give or take a few. It's growing at the moment. We also have some contractors who come in on short-term contracts and do some work for us. And the staff there have quite a range of academic and skills and experience. I myself did maths, other people there who've done physics. We've got a biologist who then became a pilot, who then became an analyst. Sure, there are lots of people, there are lots of pathways that people have got into this role. And the team and the department itself is split into 5 distinct teams. The airports and consultancy team, which I work in, hence why it's in bold. The airspace environment, data science, forecasting, business analytics, and safety. And I do have a little bit which tells you about what they do, but my notes aren't on the slides here, so I'm going to quickly flick through like I'm really organised and tell you what all these teams do. So, airports consultancy, well, actually, you know what I do. We do a combination of like data analytics and simulations to help assess airport capacity and help enhance that. The airspace environment team support airspace changes, including provision of metrics and analysis for airspace change proposals. Data science help combine multiple data sources and manage that effectively and do ad hoc requests for other parts of the business. Forecasting and business analysis are quite an internally based team. They do a lot of forecasting of traffic and they help improve strategic decision making through accurate forecasting of future demand and facilitating greater understanding of the influences on service performance. I definitely didn't just read that from the paper. And safety also provide analysis of safety data in order to identify any opportunity to decrease risk and preserve the integrity of NATS safety strategy. So I'll quickly run through a bit more about what we do in the airports and consultancy team. What we do is generally known as airport capacity modelling, which can be talked about as delivering airport performance and capacity enhancements. And our average project falls into 3 kind of stages here. Benchmarking, so get a lot of data, generally provided by the data science team, and analyse how well an airport is currently performing. Are they hitting their targets? Have they got lots of delay? Are aircraft taking ages to taxi to the runway? Stuff like that. Then we'll build up some simulations to model how they're doing currently. So we'll simulate their current operation and see how we can enhance today. Are there small operational changes we can make to help them deliver their current level of traffic more effectively, or slight changes to the infrastructure? And then looking further out into the future, how can you plan for tomorrow? Airports are always assessing what their level of demand is, how many flights they're expecting. They're expecting more and more flights, so they can handle their current level of traffic, but they might not be able to handle that future amount. So we try and simulate future scenarios to assess how they'll be able to handle that. And I have a couple of other slides that show this. So, for example, benchmarking, this is just a graph of what appears to be arrival departure, arrival separations. So that's we assess, okay, as I mentioned earlier, how do we keep those aircraft safe? We separate them. And if you, that is a driving factor for how well an airport can perform. If you can keep the aircraft closer together, you can land more aircraft, take more aircraft off, that's more flights through, that's great for your business. So this is the case of we'd analyse how effective they were, how big the separations were between an aircraft arriving, one getting out and another one arriving. And let's just know how consistent they're delivering those separations, what the average is, whether they can reduce that and assessing things like that. Enhanced day and plan for tomorrow. This is just a layout from a Heathrow model. So that's Heathrow there. So we use a airspace and airport modeler to model traffic coming in and landing, and we assign rules and conditions that make aircraft act in particular ways. And then when we want to assess different scenarios, we can add in new bits of infrastructure, new gates for the aircraft to sit at, new taxiways, a new runway, for example, and assess how well the airport will operate with these new pieces of infrastructure. To do this, there are a bunch of different software development skills that you don't need to have before you join, but you can build while you're there. My team uses quite a bit of C#, which I know nothing about currently, but I am starting to learn to build in-house tools that help with our simulation modeling. Some of the other teams use Python quite a bit, Java. Some people on my team use R. to just some of the data analysis, some of the analysis, and quite a lot of SQL is done for managing and drawing down bits of data. We are an award-winning research facility, and these are some of the prizes that we have won in recent years. Please don't ask me about them in the questions at the end. So, my experience. So, how did I get to where I am now? In 2011, I started out at the University of Southampton doing a BSc in mathematics with management sciences. Throughout that time, once I got to my optional modules, I started to realise that I quite liked OR and influencing decision-making using my mathematical skills, so I started picking up more of those modules, and then decided that I wanted to carry on and do a master's in operational research. So I stayed on at the university there, did that for a year, did a dissertation on placement with the NHS, looking at simulating neonatal patient pathways, which you're probably not that interested in. And then from there, I started my career at Corda, who are the modelling analysis consultancy in BAE Systems. So I started out as a graduate consultant, moved up to a consultant while I was there. Then this April, I joined NATS from there as a research analyst. And since I've made these slides, I've just been told that I'm going to be moved up to a senior research analyst at the start of December. So that's quite nice, which shows that there's quite good development opportunities for you to move up and progress while you're at NATS. So some of the highlights of my time when I've been there: developing a knowledge of air traffic control operations. I knew nothing about air traffic control when I started and didn't claim to, but it turns out it's really interesting. As I said, it's an interesting problem. There's increasing demand and a restricted supply, so how you can come up with innovative solutions to resolve those issues is really interesting. I've been lucky enough that when I've been working, I've been up to visit the Manchester, Stansted and Bristol air traffic control towers, which are quite an interesting work environment to sit in. Seeing these people work there, you get a really good view over the whole airport. These giant aircraft that like really tiny little toys, and so it's quite interesting to do that. And I'm looking forward to more opportunities to go and work abroad soon, hopefully, and get into those towers. There's a Barcelona project that I would like to get on. That'd be quite nice. Development opportunities I just mentioned. I've had the chance to. I've been spending some time learning C#, which I didn't know before. They're quite keen as a company to send you on training courses for things like presentation skills, influencing customers, management roles, that sort of stuff. Learning new languages, and clearly they're quite keen to promote people up if you can demonstrate you've got that skill set. And just the variety of work. That was something I was a little concerned about, if I'm totally honest, when I joined, because I've been working at a consultancy before with quite a broad range of problems. I don't like spending my time doing the same thing over and over again. That's just not me. But all airports are quite quirky and different, so all the problems they face are different. So what do you think? You might just think, oh, you just do airport capacity modelling. No project's been the same so far. And speaking to people that have been in the department for years, they're all seeing the same. They all say the same, but they all seem the same. That's contradictory to my point, isn't it? So, potential careers at NATS. For those of you that are in your penultimate year and not yet finished, we do have sandwich year opportunities where we have industrial placement students come and work for a year. And what they do is they move around the 5 teams and get experience of analytics from all those different viewpoints. I actually don't think it involves that much writing on glass like in A Beautiful Mind, but it's a nice stock picture, so there you go. And for those of you that are coming to the end of your degrees, we do take graduates on. We don't have a distinct grad scheme, but we have early careers roles that exist. The colleague that's with me today, she joined straight out of university. Lots of my other colleagues also joined straight out of university as research analysts. And actually, we have a NATS Open evening coming up at Whiteley, if you're in the area, on the 5th of December, which is a good chance to come in and talk to different people about what they do, and that. Obviously, if you're not in the area, then look on the website. We have a NATS Careers website, and LinkedIn was quite good. That's what got me my job. I got pushed through the opportunity through LinkedIn, so that's not a bad shout. There you go, some helpful links that none of you will probably follow. If you Google NATS and careers, you should find us. And that, I think, is me, so thank you.